In a world painted by the ambitions of empires, where the lines of dominion were drawn across continents, the spirit of freedom was never truly extinguished. Beneath the surface of colonial rule, a current of defiance began to flow, nurtured by the brave, the brilliant, and the bold. From the quiet scratch of a pen to the thunderous roar of revolution, this is the story of those who dared to resist, who fought to reclaim their destiny from the clutches of empire. The first whispers of change often came not from the battlefield, but from the minds of visionary reformers and thinkers. In a dimly lit room in Europe, a Filipino nationalist named José Rizal furiously penned his novel, Noli Me Tangere. His words, sharp as a blade, exposed the injustices of Spanish rule, awakening a national consciousness that would ignite a revolution. Meanwhile, in the hallowed halls of the British Parliament, an Indian intellectual, Dadabhai Naoroji, stood before the empire's elite. Armed with compelling charts and irrefutable logic, he presented his drain theory, meticulously detailing how Britain was siphoning wealth from India, giving a powerful economic argument to the call for self-rule. Decades later, the Martinican psychiatrist and philosopher Frantz Fanon would dissect the deep psychological wounds of colonization, his writings becoming a Bible for decolonization movements across the globe, inspiring millions to cast off not just their physical, but also their mental chains. Yet, some chains could only be broken by force. In the French colony of Saint-Domingue, the brutal reality of slavery on sugar plantations fueled a simmering rage. From this crucible of suffering emerged Toussaint Louverture, a formerly enslaved man who became a brilliant military strategist. On horseback, he united a disparate army of rebels, transforming them into a disciplined force that outmaneuvered Napoleon's best generals through cunning guerrilla warfare in the island's dense jungles. Their struggle culminated in a momentous victory. In 1804, the new flag of Haiti was raised, marking the birth of the world's first independent Black republic, a beacon of hope for the oppressed everywhere. As the 19th century unfolded, the flames of rebellion spread. In India, a rumor that new rifle cartridges were greased with pig and cow fat, an affront to both Muslim and Hindu sepoys serving the British East India Company, was the spark that lit the powder keg. A single sepoy's defiant refusal to use the cartridge escalated into a widespread mutiny in 1857. Under the cover of darkness, soldiers gathered to plot, and soon the Indian subcontinent was engulfed in a ferocious conflict. Though the rebellion was ultimately crushed, it shattered the authority of the East India Company, forcing the British Crown to assume direct and harsher control over its jewel. At the turn of the century in China, a different kind of resistance emerged. The Fists of Righteous Harmony, or Boxers, practiced martial arts, believing it made them impervious to foreign bullets. Fueled by anti-foreign and anti-Christian sentiment, they laid siege to the foreign legations in Beijing, armed with traditional weapons and a fervent desire to purge their nation of outside influence. Their valor, however, was no match for the superior technology of the multinational Eight-Nation Alliance, which brutally suppressed the uprising, imposing yet another humiliating treaty on China. Decades later, in the highlands of Kenya, the fight for land became the fight for freedom. The Kikuyu people, systematically displaced from their ancestral lands by white British settlers, decided they had been pushed too far. In the secrecy of the forests, they took sacred oaths, binding themselves to the Mau Mau movement. These fighters used their intimate knowledge of the terrain to launch swift, terrifying ambushes against the colonial regime. The British responded with a brutal declaration of emergency, but the Mau Mau's resolve was unbreakable. Their fierce struggle, though militarily suppressed, broke the will of the colonial administration.